This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. 3, 2, 1, and welcome everybody to this episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. Oh boy, am I happy. And shame on me for taking so long to ask you, Lena, to come on to my podcast, but thank you for being here now. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. It was so easy to say yes at once when you asked, and that was 2 days ago. So I was like, "Yeah, I want to talk to you."
I almost
nice.
I almost didn't even get the invitation out of my mouth before you said yes right away. So that was an honor for me. That was an honor for me. Let's see, I'm just adjusting my sound here on my trusty little iPhone. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. No, so thank you for being here on this Sunday morning. You know, the first question, or the first thing I want to say rather, to you, and this will explain a little bit about you and what you mean to me, to my listeners. I cannot remember the exact year that we first met. I want to say it was back in 2008. There was a seminar of some sort in Bodø. And we were both there, and Tarina was leading this seminar. I think it was like a two-day thing we were there for. And that was my first time ever seeing you. We spoke a little bit, said hi, and of course, you know, everybody that was there introduced themselves, so we knew each other's background and stuff. But one thing that stood out with you was you were just incredibly. Your very essence was motivating. You were smiling. You were happy. You only had positive things to say. I mean, that was the atmosphere at that seminar in general. But you were like a step above everybody else with your positivity and your energy. Where did that come from? Is that from your upbringing, or is that from just the accumulation of all your life experience that just puts you in a happy place at that time? And here, you know, 12 years later, you seem to still be in that same happy place. How do you do that?
Oh, very good question. Thank you first. I would just want to add something to that, because you have the same energy around you, you know, that's positive vibes. So that attracted me as well. But to answer your question, I think when it comes to how these things work, I often think it's a combination of who you are from the beginning and how you choose your path in a way, and how you choose your focus. I think I was quite a positive kid in the beginning, but I also really decided to work on it my whole life, I think, actually. Focus on the good thing, and I've been interested early in. I used to be a professional athlete, and I quite early.
Yeah, what was your sport? What was your sport?
Alpine skiing.
Alpine skiing, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so actually, I was. I would say it really started. My professional interest started already then with training the mind. Yeah. Because then. I think during that, I came to a pretty nice level. I was doing European Cup with the national team a little bit. I didn't have a place at the team as I wasn't on the national team, but I was at the level which I could travel and do European Cup. So I was really feeling how to be a professional athlete. And
it's a different world. It's a different world, isn't it? You can feel the difference between a hobbyist and a pro when it comes to athletics. It's totally different. That must have been an inspirational moment for you to be able to rub shoulders with those kind of people. Yeah.
It's really, it's your whole life. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. It's really like a all absorbing thing. Yeah. It's what you do actually at that time. But I think during those years when you have competitions and you sometimes are too nervous or not enough nervous, or your mind is spinning, I was starting to ask myself those questions. There must be a way that I can get more control over my mind. That was my early youth question. I think it was 17, 18. And we didn't have much internet then. So I went to the library and I borrowed every book I found in Narvik. I was living in Narvik. And I think at that time is my first books where I really start to understand how trainable brain is.
Yes.
And that we have a choice, and we can actually train our mind in having positive patterns. Definitely.
For me, that whole thing about the mind and the power of the mind and how it can affect the physical, that came to me as a revelation when I was very young. I was a star football player, not soccer, but football in the United States. And I was very fortunate to have some of the best coaching I've ever experienced in my life. These men put the idea in my mind that if I decide that I want to be a top performer in my sport, then the game is 60% done just because I've decided to do it. And then it's just a matter of doing the work and keeping your focus on your plan. And what I found, and I'm sure this is the same for you, what I found is that the way I apply that back then, the way I applied it to my sports, and even today as a powerlifter, I apply that to my sports, but it leaks out into my everyday life.
Yeah, it sure does. It affects everything. Yeah. Definitely. And I think, of course, we all have ups and downs, but it's really about, like, in the hard times of life, if you're able to, even at the worst, see it, okay, I'm going to learn something from this. This is hard and it's rocky and it's painful, but I know this is a phase where I'm going to grow. And I think that is a big help. Because, of course, I hear that a lot. Oh, you always feel positive. And it doesn't mean that I don't have hard days or whatever it is, but I really have a focus on always lifting myself and spreading good energy. That's very important for me.
And I try to remember that, because I know it certainly applies for me. Just because you manage to carry a heavy load in your life, that doesn't mean that the load isn't heavy, So in other words, the most positive people can have their down days, their moments of depression or self-doubt or whatever that may be. But I think it is an issue of training, of mental training, that puts us in a position to pull ourselves out of that depression, turn around that self-doubt. But that's a training issue. That's something that has to be worked on consistently. How do you apply that constant work and that constant focus to your life right now? Because your business, tell us about your business. Tell us the name of your business and what you do, because I see that element of doing the work and being very clear over what you need to do to rise above challenges. I can see you doing that on a daily basis in your job. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, thank you. I the business I have now is called House of Mindful Movement. So I work I'm a personal trainer, I'm a yoga teacher, and I have a lot of different lessons. And I feel my work is about helping people love themselves more and be more happy with themselves, and in many levels of their life. That's actually like my bigger view of what I'm working with. With yoga and everything, now I feel during the years, I have a lot of tools like meditation and self-reflection, and constantly choosing to work on these things. So I have more and more tools during my life to how to work on it. Let me just break in here for a second about meditation. How important or how prevalent is meditation in your life? Do you meditate every day, several times a day, maybe, or? Now I meditate almost every day, but this has taken me so many years to get to this stage. I've been teaching for many years. I took my first yoga instructor in 2005, and it's been on and off. But today,
you spent some time in India, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in India a little bit too as well. And today I have every day some meditation. It could be for just a couple of minutes sometimes, but I'm always going back to find that silence, because I really believe all of us have all the answers within.
Absolutely.
And we seek them outside, and you just need to calm that quiet water so you can see what the questions really are actually sometimes.
When it comes to meditation, I have to give a shout out to Trine Dalmo.
Yeah.
She taught me all those years ago that everybody, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what's going on in your life, everybody has time to 10 to 15 minutes of quiet time, self-reflection, and meditation.
Yeah.
And since she taught me that all those years ago, we're going back 10, 12 years, maybe closer to 15 years ago, that's something that I have done consistently, daily, at least 15 minutes every day. And it's not like I have to go into a special chamber and I can do it just, sitting on my couch or while my meal is warming up on the stove. I can take the time then. It's important. As much as you give to your clients, I'm sure that requires that you also give to yourself. You have to be strong enough to give.
Yeah, it has to become true to yourself that you have to take really good care of yourself so you can be the best for others as well. So you never...
And that's not egoism either. That's not egoism either. No.
Some people take it for selfishness if you put too much time yourself. And I think it really is a distinct difference because it's like you in the airplane, they say, put your own mask on before. And it's so true, actually, because if you want to be the best for others, you really have to also take care of your own mind and how you express your energy. It's so important.
I'm a big believer in that. So I remember also at another seminar that we did, and this I believe is the last time I saw you. This was maybe in 2012. It was another seminar in Buda. And you took us outside and we had the ski poles and there was like this little hill outside. And Lena, you almost killed me. At that moment in my life, I was probably in the worst shape I've ever been and my cardio was zero. And we had to do these sprints, using like a ski stride, like a ski. Do you remember this? With the ski pole.
I remember it. Yeah.
And you almost, I almost didn't like you back then.
I'm sorry for that. Yeah. But it's funny. I just have to say it's so funny because that was the last time probably I was having that education. Yeah. And I think it's almost 10 years ago. And the beautiful thing about you, I just have to say something nice about you again. I think we just had each other on Facebook or Instagram and stuff. And like once or twice a year, you're always sending these such nice messages, really like from the heart, like positive. Oh, you're inspiring. And you can really feel that it's real. And of course, it's nice for me to get them, but it's always like also telling me so much about you, how easy it is for you to actually do it, because it's not so easy for everyone. And you do that so easy in a way. And it's like every time like, well, he's so nice.
Well, thank you for saying that. But it is easy for me to do that. I am a person who is very motivated when the motivation is there. I'm very inspired when the inspiration is there. And there are people like yourself who are out there, and I feel so fortunate to know them. I mean, people like you give me so, and you don't even know it. I see the things you're doing. First of all, that you running your own business. I do that as well. So I know the struggle that is involved in that. I know how difficult that is. So right away, I feel a certain type of brotherhood, sisterhood with you because of that. And then, and again, going back to when I first met you and you were just strolling with enthusiasm and positivity. And I love that. There's just not enough of that in the world. And I believe that when I see it, that I need to tell that person. And I would probably send you more messages like that. But I know that in the Norwegian society, people get easily embarrassed if they get too many compliments. So I hold myself back to one time, maybe twice a year for you. So
yeah, but I'm not like a normal Norwegian person.
You're not.
So that's
and you're not. Let me ask you about that. Now, I kind of know about your background, but for my listeners, as you say, you are not a typical Norwegian woman. Your family is from
Czechia, my
Czechia,
father's side.
Czechia, yes.
Yeah, Czechia.
So how did that come about that he came to Norway, or just tell me the story of your background?
Yeah, my grandfather was during the war stationed in Fauske, north of Norway, and he met my grandmother, and they got married. He worked as a chef, and she did as well, and they got married and then got my father. And then in 44 and in 45 they moved back to Czechia, and my Norwegian grandmother went with him. So my father was brought up till he was 13 in Czechia.
Yeah.
He used to spend his summer still in Norway, and then they got divorced, and he moved back to Norway with his mother.
Okay.
But we stayed close with his family in Czechia, and we went there every summer. So I have a big family in Czechia as well, and I really always felt that I feel very Norwegian. Also, I feel like a world citizen. It's more like that feeling for me. It's but I also feel the Middle European warmth and vibes. Yeah. It's a part of me. Yeah.
How is it different from Norwegian? How would you compare Czechia and Norway when it comes to social customs and just the way of tackling life? What are the differences there?
They're just the fact that you kiss everybody on the mouth when you meet them. It's like,
hey, you never kissed me on the mouth. You owe me. You owe me.
Yeah, I do. But it's just that hugging and kissing, and it's maybe more expression of feeling sometimes. And my father always kissed us straight on the mouth the whole life, and that's not common, I think, in Norway.
No, it's not. Not at all.
And even my friends coming over, I have to, Papa, don't kiss them straight on the mouth. I was like, no, I didn't do that. But it's more like it's something there. We are a little bit stiffer in Norway in those ways. And now in Corona time, of course, it's almost strange talking about it. Just kissing someone on the mouth. Now you're thinking different ways, I feel, but. Yeah, it's
just to give a Norwegian a hug. I'm a hugger. That's from where I come from in the States, and in my family, we hug a lot. And some of my best friends, I've been here for almost 20 years, and some of my best friends, they still stiffen up like a 2x4 when I'm going to hug them because they're not used to it. It's just not the Norwegian way to show that kind of physical affection. But I do it anyway. Maybe in another 20 years, they'll get used to it.
I know what you mean. No, so it's I feel very Norwegian in many ways, and I think there's a lot of beautiful thing of both countries, and so it's not. But it's just some things are different. They are have a different way of expressing themselves. Yeah.
I dated a girl from Czechia when I was in college, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name was
she kissed you on the mouth.
She kissed me on the mouth quite well, if I remember. I got to be careful. I don't want my wife to get jealous, but that girl from Czechia was pretty nice. Her name was Andrea Pokorny, but her last name was actually shortened from the original pronunciation in Czechia. They shortened it to make it more Americanized, but she went by Andrea Pokorny was her name. So hi, Andrea, if you're out there listening. nice kisser. Nice kisser.
Yeah. It's I think also like the food, and I don't know, it's the whole I just love that I had that upbringing, that I had a bit of that from early age, and seeing that the world is bigger, and like
when's the last time you were there?
Norway. Now it's been some years actually. We were hoping to go this winter, and then Corona came, and so as soon as I think we will go there as soon as. But now I think it's actually some years, 5-6 years since I was there. Yeah. So.
I was lucky to go back home to Ohio last year. And then before that, the last time I had been home was in 2015. So it seems to be way too seldom that I get back home. I'm sure you feel the same way about going back to Czechia. If we could, we'd go there every year, at least once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to go there with my kids now. I have 2 kids, and they were last time they were there, they were quite small. Okay. So they really want to go and meet everybody. And
well, that family connection is so important. I talk a lot about being homesick, and it's mostly because the rest of my family is still back home in America. You know, I love my wife and we have our 2 kids, but I do miss the rest of my family, my brother, sister, my mother, aunts and uncle. It's just that being separated from that family unit. I feel it. I really do feel that. I try not to focus on it, but that feeling of missing that part of my life is always there.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah. But for you, you've been living so many years up north.
Yes.
Like really up north. And can I ask you, when did you move south in Norway? From how many years ago?
We came to Drammen in 2014.
Okay,
2014, yeah. I don't want to say I regret it, but I will say that I enjoyed my life better when I was up north, because the people up north are more similar to what I'm used to back home in rural Ohio, you know, more laid back, way more friendly and open to strangers, and just that small town feeling is very much there in northern Norway. So and it's just and I have to say this as well. Here comes another compliment for you. I am very interested in languages. I'm so proud that I speak Norwegian. I think it's a beautiful language. But one of probably the most beautiful dialect, and this applies to you and to Trina and anyone else from Mo i Rana and my dentist, actually, you know my dentist, I told you about her. I cannot remember her name, but my dentist is from Mo i Rana. And you guys probably have, in my opinion, the most beautiful dialect of Norwegian that there is. It is music to my ears.
That's so nice. I've never heard anyone say that. So
I love it.
It's coming from a musician. I think it's extra nice. That's really nice to hear, actually. It sounds nice. Yeah.
So I think all things that have to do with Norway for me are better up north. It's just a different vibe. It's a different feeling up there. So I miss living up north. I do.
Yeah. But do you still go there sometimes? You still have family?
We still have our home up on Sealand, up in Finnmark.
Yeah.
So we still have our home and our property up there. So that is that's our summer retreat. when we retire, when we start living the pensjonistliv, as it's called here in Norway, we will spend half of our year up there, and hopefully by that time we will have bought some sort of home back home in Ohio in the United States, and we'll divide our time in our retirement years. So
that sounds nice.
Oh yes, I just think it's beautiful up there. We have a place on that island up there, right by the ocean. And it's not a California sand beach type of thing. It's its own kind of thing. But that ocean, the smell of the ocean and all that, and we get that here in Drammen. We're also by the coast here in Drammen, but it's just different up north.
It is different. Yeah. I love that too as well. And I think I also have a boyfriend who now for 4 years
from the Netherlands
lives in Amsterdam. So and we've been together for 4 years, and he has kids and I have kids. So we're living like we knew it when we became girlfriend and boyfriend. That we understood. Okay, we're not going to live together for 10 years, probably till the kids are grown up.
Yeah.
So we visited once a month. So quite often, but not now in the Corona time. So it's kind of different.
Well, you guys seem to really be making that long distance relationship thing work. It seems like you guys are very active. You've been doing like what do you call that? Where you
kite surfing.
Kite surfing, thank you, and all kinds of cool things like that. And I've seen pictures you've put up when he's over here and you guys are out skiing. So you guys make it work when you have your time together.
I say we have a lot of quality time, and when we became boyfriend and girlfriend, a lot of people, who's moving, and we would say, no, none of us are moving. Oh, you seriously? It must be so hard. And of course we miss each other, but I really see the beauty of it, because I sort of live as a single mom here with my 2 kids, and I have them, they live with me every second week, and I get the possibility to take really care of that part of my life and my business, and then I go over there and I have all the beautiful things we do together.
Yeah.
So and we talk every day on FaceTime, and I think it really is working. And of course, it's now during Corona, it's a little bit not hard. I wouldn't say it's harder because we're accepting it.
Well, it's a new challenge. It's a new type of challenge.
Yeah. We have to wait. Like now we can't visit at all, but I think it brought so much beauty into my life living this way. Actually, we travel a lot. We go on kite surfing vacation, and he owns fitness centers in Amsterdam.
Oh,
and
okay.
So he's in the same field of work. So when I'm there, I actually can work a little bit as well sometimes with different things. And I'm very happy with how we're doing things, actually.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I can see from the things I see on your social media that you guys are really making it work and really enjoying each other. It's just a beautiful thing to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe my little piece of European inside me from my upbringing is also very happy about this. Like I have a natural way. It's like the part of middle of Europe is even closer for me now. Yeah, that part of the world. So I think it's...
that's just a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go back to your business now. I don't want to say anything negative about Mo i Rana, where you live, but it is a small town, and small towns can have a tendency to kind of be set in their ways, not very progressive, not very open to new things. Now, the type of work that you're doing with your business, it seems to be like a progressive, a new type of business, a progressive type of business. Have you had any struggles getting clients and getting your business off the ground, or has it been smooth sailing the whole time?
I would say, because I work a little bit holistic. I have a holistic approach for training. Yeah. I always think body, mind.
Yeah. And that's a little non-traditional for the straight, the straight square thinking Norwegian. That might be a little bit different than what they're used to. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually think it's going smooth in the way that I think people are very open, and it's a growing small city. We have a lot of creative people in this city, I would say, and a lot of exciting things happen. And no, when it comes to clients accepting my time of work, it's really been there. I think they've been very open-minded, and I see like yoga and types of mindfulness and breathing and all these things are really growing. And I think actually during these Corona times, for example, this is people are realizing more and more how important it is to find ways to get your shoulders down and live more in tune with who you are. So I think we are in a shift in a way also, because when I started yoga when I 2005, I took only like a, what do you call it, a yoga instructor education. So it wasn't like a heavy education at the first time, but I was so eager. So I was teaching and been so like into learning the whole way. So it was just 2-3 years ago I took a heavier education.
Okay.
But people really now it's so opened for yoga. People are like, it's becoming so accepted. And in the beginning when I started teaching, when I said, close your eyes and focus on the breathing through your nose, people almost start laughing, like some...
Right,
like,
exactly. Some kind of hippie, crazy way of approaching. Yeah. They're not used to it.
No, and now it's like a totally different acceptance. And my classes have been doing so well. The only thing that's been hard is, of course, on and off this year with Corona. Yeah. So I'm teaching a lot of online and making courses online now. So right now I make,
I'm sorry. Yeah. When you teach online, is it basically just through some sort of video link up and you're just teaching your class as you normally would, only through video?
Now, like right now, we have the close again this week, and we're teaching live through a Facebook group just for our members actually this week. Yeah. And people can join in by drop-in. But I also make like courses, like you can buy a course and have your own course. I just made one course 1 month ago, which is called Movement Freedom. and it's about like functional training. And now I'm this week actually I opened the sales for new beginners of Vinyasa yoga. So you buy a course and you get like everything. Like I think it's 20 videos bringing you through everything and lessons. And
way to go. What a great business concept. Well, you know, and I like seeing that, because a lot of people have kind of given up. A lot of people in the health and fitness industry have given up because of Corona. But then there is that select few like yourself who don't give up. You just think in a new way and you continue on down the road and your business thrives.
Yeah, to be true, I don't know how to give up, because this is even when it's super hard and I'm not getting enough money to actually almost, it's been times like that during all these years as an entrepreneur. I've been for over 10 years now. But it's like, okay, there's some hours of anger and sadness. And then it's like, okay, let's see, what can I do? And it's always like this. So in March, when Corona, we had like 110 people going to, they buy like a season for a class. Yeah. Like they go on Vinyasa yoga 6:00 on Tuesdays, for example. Yeah. And I have like 14 classes like that. And then they closed down, and I was like, what do I do? They bought the whole semester, and it's on Mars. They're gonna lose lessons now for months. And it's like, what can I do for my customers? So I just made my living room into a movie studio, and I filmed every class I was supposed to have in the studio at the same time. It was supposed to be there for 8 or 9 weeks. I did this. Wow. So my kids, I was just like, I had to close the door and say, okay, we're filming again. You have to stay in your room. Really, it was like I was doing that. It was hard, but I loved it. And then also made a lot of people who wasn't my members come into that group, because we had it open. Like I actually tried a thing which I know works in America, which is I would love if it worked in Norway. We made it like a donut-based group. Yeah. So people I know in the America, in California and some places, they have yoga studios, which it's donut-based. So if you come and you're a student and you pay for a class, okay, I only have $10 or something. And if you are more wealthy, okay, I pay $30 for a class, or monthly. People pay what they can. Yeah. And it's so nice, because then it gets available for everyone, even if you're a student and stuff. So I made this group like, okay, you can choose your amount and you can join classes. And actually that worked pretty well for a couple of months. But then it's sort of like people are not used to the concept of it. Right. I love the idea that you can pay what you can afford.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there it is. Again, that's the beauty of a lot of entrepreneurs, that they have that beauty of being able to adjust and just make it work regardless. I think back to when this was like right around when I first met you. At that time, I had been maybe just 1 or 2 years into running my 2 gyms, and it was a constant struggle, because in that area of Norway, they didn't have any training centers, they didn't have any gyms. So the concept of paying to train was a foreign concept to a lot of people. So there was a lot of pushback about the prices I set. Some people had some preconceived ideas about what they thought a gym should be. So there was that initial period of really, really stretching myself out mentally to try to come up with the idea that would fit for those people. So I see a little bit of myself in your story there about having to make adjustments because of the Corona situation. It's not easy being an entrepreneur, but I wouldn't trade those years for anything. It was rough. It was very stressful. It affected my health, my physical health. But again, going back to everything I learned from those times, that's it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. We get stronger. We get stronger from meeting those challenges, and it's lessons that we take with us through the rest of our life.
I think like always, all entrepreneurs is like up and down. Yes. It's and then if you have. So I don't think it's for everyone, and I'm happy it's not for everyone, because it's good that we are. Some people really just want a steady job, and I realize how important it is for me to have the freedom of creativity. Yeah. I have to. Then I blossom, and enough I can be driven by my passion to my overall passion, because I really want to do good in the world. I know it's like big words, but I think we all of us can have that little impact that spreads rings in the water, getting big. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, you are putting an effect on people. I just know it. I mean, I see what it does for me. Sometimes you put some, I've seen a couple of videos you've put up, humorous things, with like dancing and different things with yoga and stuff. And just that you would make me smile in that moment, that could be enough to carry me through the rest of my day. So if you do that for me, I know you're doing that for a large amount of other people. So
thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important work that you do.
Yeah, I think, like I say, we all have different work and important work. And I think the more we can find what our purpose is, I think we all have a little bit purpose in life here. If we talk holistically, I think there's like a dharma for us, or a little bit like if you can find your passions, and it can be in just anything. You know,
I absolutely agree. Absolutely. Yeah. What is your purpose? What is your purpose in life?
It actually, we are talking about it. I think really my purpose is to help people love themselves more. I know, of course, I always have to work also loving myself more. It's not like I have all the answers, but I truly believe if more people that can be happy with themselves and understand that how unique they are, that they are perfect as they are, and find that inner calmness and send that into the world. The more persons in the world that have that, wow, that's like, can you imagine if the whole world had that? We would not have war, I think.
Oh, it would be it's big words, but they're meaningful, and they're great words to live by, because yes, what a different world we would have if just a small percentage of people were to think like that. Yeah. So that drives me. Even, of course, you have those, some days you're like, do I really have a purpose in what I'm doing? We all have those, but it's shifting kind of quickly back into feeling, this is important. Yeah, because like I said earlier, and you agreed, everybody, even the most happy and the most disciplined people, they have days of sadness and self-doubt. When you feel like that, is it, what does that do with you as far as your task to make others feel happy when you're not happy? How do you work through that? Or do you have to work through it?
Yeah. I am, because I've been very conscious, working with this, I will say, train myself for all these years. I'm very quick at understanding when it's when I'm not feeling okay. Yeah. I'm quite quick at starting. What are you thinking, Lena? Because I know there's a thought going around that makes me feel this way. So, and then I can maybe I'm talking myself down. So I'm kind of, that's what you're doing, Lena. No, that's not strange. You're not feeling okay at this moment. You're thinking about this now, and this is putting you down.
So you recognize that in yourself.
Yeah, quite quickly. And I shifted. Okay, you can choose. And I have actually a word, and it's funny, I always say it on English inside me. I can say it on Norwegian, but I have to be joyfully present. That's
joyfully present.
That's one of my big words in life. And that for me, and Norwegian, that's, lykkelig til stede I øyeblikket. And that's too big. That's a long word to say in the brain.
Say it in English.
You said it. And this word for me means when I'm not feeling okay, I can, it's okay, what do I smell? What do I see? What is here right now to be happy about? Yeah. So it's I'm searching for, what's good about this situation? What, just here, not the thought of what I have to do tomorrow or what happened yesterday, but I'm here and here now. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. I have a nice cup of coffee in front of me. It can be the smallest thing. So it's about gratefulness, I think. So I practice gratefulness. I do journaling, gratitude journaling. Every night I try to close my day with saying, I'm grateful for. And it could be 10 things, it could be 5 things, it could be 20 things. And it can be like, oh, I'm so grateful for today when I had such a nice feeling driving to work, I was just happy. Or I'm so grateful today for that nice conversation with my friend. Oh, I'm so grateful for today because this happened. Or, these small, big things. And when you close your day, the funny thing, I just have to say this is one, it could be a shitty day, like a really shitty day. And it's a hard day to do journaling then, But the funny thing, you always find things during your day. And after journaling, you're sitting there, okay, maybe the day wasn't perfect, but actually there was a lot of nice things going on during this day. So it's kind of so fun to how that works.
Well, that's just a great exercise. Yeah, that's a great exercise in self-help. And it's like you said a little bit earlier, we have the answers within ourselves. It's just that sometimes we do things or we allow things to happen to us that get in the way of those answers that are already there. So that moment with meditation or reflection, or that moment where you gather up the positive things that in fact happened during a shitty day, that's medicine. That's medicine for the soul, and that's medicine that we all have.
Yes.
And isn't it? It's a little strange that we don't do this. We know that these things work. But there's people like you, and I guess people like me, who put that kind of information out there, and hopefully just one person every once in a while learns something from it, and then they spread it. It's almost like a multi-level marketing scam, where if one person tells 3 people and then they tell 3, So I do think that there is more of that line of thinking going around in the world today. It seems to be it seems to be so easy to go on social media or the internet otherwise, and you see more and more people who are thinking holistically like that and finding that internal medicine that we all have.
Yeah. And I actually put in my new yoga course there's one chapter called gratitude journaling, because I find it so important. It's like, the whole helping the brain to shift into positive thinking. Yeah. And I used to have lecture 1 year ago. I had a couple of lectures about this as well. Yeah. And I went into this lecture. I didn't have a script, nothing. And I think it was 20 people there. Yeah. And I talked for 1.5 hours about this.
Oh, amazing.
It was such a strong, for me as well. It was like, I was almost a little bit amazed afterwards how strongly, when I just talked so from the heart, it was like, this message came out so strong. And it's so fun when I meet people from that lecture last year. A lot of them actually really started practicing this. So
I think that's
so
amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. And I feel so fortunate to be doing this podcast, because I like to think that, my guests are very, I'm choosing people that for me are natural to choose to come on as guests, people who inspire me, people who I think can inspire others. So I would like to think that my podcast is a vessel that can send a message out there. And it's a message that I'm able to send that I otherwise would not be able to send. I don't know if I could ever make it as a lecturer on the lecturing circuit in Norway, but I can do this podcast and then hope that people hear this conversation we're having now and conversations that I've had with other people like that. But again, I think it goes back to this thing that I think it is very, it's a growing trend that people are thinking more holistically, more spiritually, to make their lives better. Would you say that what you do is spiritual in any way? Is there any God element in this?
I would say I became during these 10 years of living this way, I became more spiritual, much more, because you start to feel things. Yeah. And that's the thing, you feel like in deep meditation, there's just like a feeling you can't explain in the beginning. It's like, wow. Well, I remember my first really states of being in deeper meditation. It's like you come out of it and it's like, wow, did that just happen? Yeah. And all those things happening when you're practicing a little bit like more in tuning to yourself and seeking the silence, you feel some elements of bigger, greater. Yes. So I would say I'm so much more spiritual today. Yeah. That I there's for me it's like there's nothing greater than love, and also that's a very thrown out, but the feeling of love you can feel during meditation, like the whole body and stuff like that. It's I don't think it's not possible to not become more spiritual if you do the spiritual practice. I guess that's where. So definitely, it's. But then also for me, it's very. I live in this century with people, and I really try to meet people where they are, because I remember also myself 15 years ago. So making it. Instructing it in a level that it's eatable for everybody, so they can get into their way of it. It's just so important for me, making it not too spiritual, because I think if people just they will have the feelings that it will come naturally,
and then they can interpret it in their way.
So I think that's. I have small ears, so these keep falling, and my AirPods keep falling. It's like constantly have to put them in. Sorry.
For my listeners, for my listeners who can't see, this whole conversation, her earbuds have been popping out. First the left one, then the right one, then the right one, then the left one.
It's so funny. Now, when I talk, they pop up. I have to talk to the producer of Threadless. They have to.
There it goes again. I love it.
It's so funny.
Let me ask you about your time in India. Now, India, I've never been there, but to me, it seems to be a fascinating country. It seems to be a nation of extremes. You have your elites who are living quite well with a lot of money and comfort. Then you have people who are living in just the worst kind of poverty. You have a Muslim influence. You have a Hindu influence. Why did you go to Norway? I mean, I know why you went, but you maybe can speak on why you went. And what kind of experiences did you get from being there?
Yeah, actually, I went there for NLP business course. So it wasn't for yoga, actually. It was for a NLP course.
Neuro-linguistic programming, for those who don't know.
Yes, thank you. Because I had a lot of education in that, and we were with Susan. There's like a well-known teacher, and so there was a great course, and I learned a lot. But like being in India, like one thing I've said this a lot of times. I've never seen so many like men, maybe 50, 60, having this smile of a kid. This the face was like the unworried, happy face of a kid. That was like, that hit me the first day I was there. It was like, I was so, and they have those cultures, they just kept something really nice with them from way back, even if the big cities getting very influenced by the European living and all those things. But these things we're talking about, spiritual practicing, meditation, yoga, time, how they look at time, it's kind of funny. If you ordered like one of those tuk-tuks to go somewhere, 2 hours late, that was like, that was okay.
No big deal.
It was like, it's no big deal. So it's just the way of they look at life. They have we have so much to learn, I think, from India and some other countries in the East.
So it's probably that element of stress that we live with in the Western world, but it's almost absent in places like that. That stress, that preoccupation with time and commitment, it seems to be a little bit more flowing and fluid in places like that.
And we have it in Europe as well. I know, like Sardinia, I think is an island, very high population of people becoming more than 100 years. We have like five blue zones in world, I think, where people become older. And it's they also, that's family first. There's like, they do purposeful work. They eat healthy food from the, not fabric food, but like clean food, family and being together and no stressing, it's like, it's like the things in a slow and nice tempo.
One of the blue zones is Okinawa, Japan, and I lived there for 2.5 years when I was when I was in the Marines, and I can't describe the peace that those people live in They are so free of stress. They're not preoccupied with time. They're not preoccupied with possessions.
No.
Their focus is this very Zen-like spiritual thing about peace and calm and giving to others.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And those people is very common to live over 100 years old over there. So I do believe there's something with that. Of course, there's also the physiological aspects of the diet that they have. They eat very clean and things. But I think the root of that longevity, the root of their long lives is based on that concept of no stress and then giving as much as you can to others. It's beautiful. It was beautiful. I miss living there. It's beautiful. It's just one of the formative experiences of my life, living there for those 2.5 years. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think maybe this, I don't know, but I have been reflecting that this Corona things was like listening. It's kind of funny how I say it, but like Corona made a lot of people think about the stress level.
Oh, yes.
Definitely it did. Yeah, it was like the hamster wheel was going really fast, and people got time to reflect. So if nothing, I think things like that is good coming out of it. Actually,
I got a good feeling about family. You know, my wife and kids. Now, I like to think that I've always appreciated my wife and kids. You know, I've been married to my Snoopy for 20 years now. We've been together almost 21 years, and I'd like to think I've always appreciated her, but I appreciated her more and in a different way since these Corona times, because, you know, with the isolation and things, it pushed us even closer together. Literally, we spent more time together. I found myself, and I'm not saying I consider myself a very patient father, but I see that I'm even more patient now. I'll speak with my children before I raise my voice in a way that I didn't do before. So there's this positive family unity that we have experienced because of the Corona times. It's kind of a shame that we have to have this pandemic to put us in that situation, because it took me back again to when I was living in Okinawa, and that family closeness was already there. Over there, there's no such thing as raising your voice to a family member. You speak to them. You don't yell at them. You speak to them, and then the understanding comes from the discussion. And so it just little things like that I maybe would not have thought as much about if it wouldn't have been for the Corona thing, which forced us into a closer situation in the family here.
So and of course for some people might have even been harder also, you know, like
sure.
So I think it's, but I definitely think you're right. A lot of people are feeling a difference. And
it's not all positive for others, because there are more incidences of domestic violence. You know, more fathers are beating on their wife and kids and things. So there are some negative results of this Corona situation, but I'm glad. I feel like it's a blessing that I was able to turn to the positive side of it, and I feel closer to my wife and kids more now than ever. And
do you think you can keep it when society, if society goes back to its hamster? Do you think we're going to pick up on the speed again?
I think so. I am a person who believes that the world and the people in it want to be good. You have a lot of fatalistic people who think negatively, and they think the whole world is just going to shit. I don't believe that. I believe there are some bad elements. I believe there are certain things that have gotten worse in the world and will probably get even more worse. But I think that the larger momentum of life, of people, of the world is moving us towards something that is better. I truly believe that. I think most people are good. Most people are good.
Think so too.
But again, I think it's about people finding out that they do have the answers themselves already, that they do have that internal medicine, that people need to think a little bit more holistically, that people need to have a little more faith in themselves. If you're in a bad situation, you're stronger than you think. You can find your way out of this. And of course, there's a lot of factors, about different opportunities that some people just don't have. You have to be in a place where you are mindful of your own capabilities. But I do believe that in general, most people have the answers themselves, and most people are good.
Yeah.
And luckily there's people like you doing the type of work that you do that make people aware that they have these skills already to make their lives better than what they are.
Yeah.
You're really doing a good work. Yeah.
Thank you. So are you. And can I ask you, this podcast?
Yeah.
Where did it come from? Was it something you were thinking about for a long time, or?
I've had a few friends, and my wife and some of my musician friends. They've been telling me for a long time that I should try and get into radio because I have a lot to say, and they like my voice.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to think I talk too much, and I never think about my voice my voice is just my voice. So yeah. I never listened to these people who were saying that I should get into radio. And then I became a fan of a couple of podcasters, the great comedian Bill Burr. I love his podcast. It's just a bunch of foolishness, chauvinistic jokes, and it's just silliness, but it makes me laugh. And I started thinking, wow, that would be cool to, because I do stand-up comedy as well. And I was thinking that would be kind of cool to just get on the air on a podcast and say whatever I want. And maybe people will think I'm an idiot, but maybe some people will laugh.
Yeah.
But I never did anything with that. I've had this thought since around 2012, roughly. That's when I first started listening to Bill Burr's podcast. And then a couple of years ago, maybe in 2017, I started listening to Joe Rogan. He fascinates me because he's a great athlete. He's been a kickboxing champion. He's also a stand-up comedian. And he is someone who is very interested in new knowledge. And I'm all three of those things. I'm not a kickboxer, but I'm a powerlifter. And I saw there was my life and my interests mirrored his. And then I started listening to his podcast, and I'm like, man, this guy just brings people on his podcast because he's curious about what they're doing. And look how much fun he's having, and look how he is affecting people. I mean, there's tens of millions of people just in the United States alone that listen to his podcast. So again, this is like in 2017, 2018 that I really started thinking it would be fun to do a podcast, but I never did anything with that thought. No. So the catalyst or the changing element that made me actually start my podcast, I started my podcast in March of 2020, March of this year. So I haven't been doing it for that long. I think this would be the 84th episode, 84 episodes since March. And what made me actually do it is if we go back to November 5th of 2019, that's when my son died from a heroin overdose, and it crushed me. I still don't know how to deal with it. But maybe a month or so after he died, maybe around New Year, January of 2020, I thought, you know what I need to do, because I was just spiraling deeper and deeper into depression and feelings of guilt and regret and all of that. And that's just not any way to live. We know that. And I was struggling with how to deal with it. And I thought, okay, here's what I need to do. What am I? I'm a musician. I like to write. I like to do public speaking. I'm an entertainer. I'm an artist. What can I do with that talent that I have, or that at least that interest that I have? What can I do that would be new and challenging? Because I needed something new, and I needed it to be challenging so that I would have a new focus instead of just living in this depression. So I said, you know what? Everybody thinks I should do a podcast. I'll just do a podcast. Yeah. So I made that decision in late January, and then I did roughly a month and a half of research and planning. And in the end, I threw all of that research and planning out, and I just started my podcast with the intention of, like I said, I want to bring in people and talk with people that interest me, that motivate me, people that I admire. And maybe they can tell me something. It's not like I say, hey, Lena, when I talk to you, tell me something that will motivate me. I don't do that. But internally, I have that hope that each guest can leave something on the table after my conversation with them, after my podcast episode, that I can reflect on, and it will help me to be stronger so that I can get out of that ugly spiral of depression and guilt, and it will leave me stronger so that I can do what I actually want to do, which is be stronger so that I can be a better person to help my wife, my kids, my friends, and then further out, anyone who listens to my podcast.
And the fact that you think that everybody can inspire, there's like a spiritual saying that everybody has a guru within.
Yeah.
That's Ramdas. And I really truly believe that everybody has a guru within. Like you can listen to anyone and learn and get inspired, and you never know what's there.
You never know. So, and it's been rather touching. It's been some emotional moments where people have called me up or sent me messages and said, "Hey, John, you had this guest on and you guys were talking about this, that, or the other, and it really inspired me. It changed my life." And then it's like, beautiful. Yes, mission accomplished. That's what I'm trying to do. Some people might think that sounds corny or insincere, but that is truly what I'm trying to do. I'll admit my first goal is to help myself through this podcast. Yeah. But in a very close second is my desire to be able to leave something on the table after each conversation that somebody out there can take and use to make their life better. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're doing great. You're doing beautiful about it. And I think, like you said earlier, we have to put our own mask on first before,
that's
serving other. And you're doing both. So I don't think it's anything. Actually, I think everything I do has one piece of selfishness in it. If you understand what I mean.
I do. Yeah.
Like everything I do also for myself, and being honest about that. Also, when you want to help someone, there's something inside you that there's something also for you in it, always. And that's nothing selfish about that. That's like, okay, that's the way to do it. It has to come from a place.
And it's okay for a person to want to help themselves. That's okay. There's no ego. Yeah. There's no ugly ego in that. I think that's a healthy ego.
Yeah. Because then you become even better and spreading even better. Yes. So it's, Yeah.
I'm trying not to get emotional. I get emotional whenever anybody asks me why I do this podcast, and then to go back and talk about my son's death and why I'm doing the podcast. It's an emotional process, but again, I'm trying to medicate myself through this podcast. Again, I believe that I have the ability to help myself, and that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast.
Yeah. And of course.
Yeah. let me ask you something, just to change our path of discussion here for just a second. You have a lot of knowledge. Your job well. Your business is thriving. Have you ever considered going out on the lecture circuit and giving speeches and lectures about NLP, for example, or about the power of mindfulness and spirituality and things like that? Have you ever considered doing that?
Actually, I feel I do it a little bit already in a way with just here locally.
But and spreading it out, doing a nationwide thing. Yeah.
I'm hoping a little bit my courses actually do it, because I bring these things into my courses, like the yoga course I'm having now. I bring those things in, hoping it can reach further. Yeah. Now we're in a time where it's difficult to travel, and I had some people asking me to come different places with them yoga and stuff, and it's not been so easy. But so now we have that possibility of doing things more online and reaching people that way. So I try my way there, and through Instagram, of course. And
is it social media that you use mostly for your promotional work? You just try to post things on social media, and
that's where Instagram and Facebook is where I reach people. Yes, it is. And of course, there's sometimes like people around who knows me from, like you, like call me for something, or you met previous in life. But it's my way around getting out there.
So if people are going to buy one of your yoga courses that you've filmed, how do they go about doing that? Do they go on your website for your business and there's a way to buy it there?
Yeah, you can find it through both like my website and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. So there's all those channels. Yeah.
When we're done here, before you go, after we're done with this episode, but before I let you go, I want to make sure I get all your contact information and I'll post that so that people know where to go to get in touch with you. And for those who are listening, I highly recommend that you check out what Lena is doing. Again, the first time I met her was back, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. And it's, and she made a lasting impression on me. Here I am all these years later talking with her on my podcast, and there's a reason for that. So for those who are listening, check her out. You really don't have any excuse. Norway is a big country. Where she lives in Mo i Rana is a long way away for some people. It's roughly in the middle of the country. Actually, Mo i Rana is where I stop when if I'm driving. I actually set a personal record for driving from Drammen up to Finnmark. I did it in 23 hours of driving time, but I drove straight from Drammen to Mo i Rana and got a hotel there and slept for maybe 3 hours. And then got back in the car and continued driving.
It's the typical place to stop.
Yes, it's perfect. Like halfway up the country there.
I know.
But as I was saying, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, if anybody wants to see what you're doing online, I highly recommend it. I will post all of your contact information, your website, and everything, so that when I post this episode, people can see how to get in touch with you.
Thank you. It's so nice. I get so. I wouldn't say shy, but humbled, when you say it's really nice of you to do that.
Well,
so far my courses are Norwegian, but the next course I'm making is going to be English now for the yoga. So
I tell you what,
that's the thing. Yeah.
As an American, I can tell you this: if there's this beautiful woman with blonde hair, great physique, and then with such a pleasant voice and charming accent. That right there is the marketing tools, everything that you need to have success with what you're doing. So if you do anything in English, I will make sure I tell my contacts in the United States about it. And we'll see if we can, way back in the day, there was Jane Fonda who had her aerobic videos. Let's see if Lena Kralicek can have her yoga videos in the year 2020 in the United States.
Oh, that would be nice. I think like you reach the people you're supposed to reach.
I think so.
So I'm getting so much. Before I used to be more like shy about, do anyone want to buy these things and stuff. But most like the people who get attracted to it will get attracted to it. I'm much more relaxed about it.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to making the next concept on English. So I'll tell you. Of course, I would love that because I know you know your country and your man. Yeah.
No, if you ever need any kind of consultation with writing up any kind of English material or anything like that, I will be glad to help you do that. Just give me a holler and I'll help you out.
Thank you. I might pick you up on that one.
Hey, I'm here.
That's great.
So to wind things up, what is the next big plan, or do you have a big plan for any kind of meaningful change you're going to make in your life? Is there anything new around the corner in the life of Lena Kralicek?
I think that now during Corona times, I'm just not just, but like I feel I've used this time to get into all this online and so this is it. I feel I'm in my next step, creating this, really and see what comes out of it. So and I would love for it to spread. So that's if you say it's a goal, I would love for it to spread and reach the people that needs it. Well, I would love that.
If you continue doing what you're doing, I'm sure it's going to happen.
Thank you.
Listen, what a great way for me to start my Sunday. What a great way for me to start. I love it.
And I loved it too. And I hope you had a lot of fun of watching me putting in my earplugs constantly for 1 hour.
You need to get some specially made earbuds because I don't know if you have alien ears or what, but those things are not sitting in your ears.
I know.
Oh, boy. No, no, but I do want to thank you for coming on. Thank you so much for sharing these pieces of your life. You have lifted me a little higher, and hopefully you will have done the same for my listeners.
Yeah. And I want to thank you so much. And so happy you created this podcast. And I'm sure you're spreading so much joy and wisdom out there. So thank you.
Thank you. Doing the best I can with what I have. Thank you so much. Okay. Lena Kralicek, everybody. Bye.
Thank you and goodbye.